So, during one of my usual Dead by Daylight sessions with some friends, Varrock was surprised I was doing so well in terms of looping killers in the game. He then proceeded to ask me to make a Basics on Survivor guide in this game, which I'll be honest has been beaten to death more times than I can personally count, but I'm a man of my word, and I said I'll do it, so here we are. So, you want to learn Survivor? Well, leave your cares by the door and grab a drink, because this dude, with barely over 600 hours in this game, is going to teach you the basics of Survivor. I won't teach everything, because I don't know everything, but I'll do my best. So, where do we start? Well, we're going to start off with the big boy itself, the chase. By far the most fun part of this game. When you get into chase with a killer, your primary concern is delaying that first down by any means necessary. Now, since you're probably new to this game and are terrified of the existence of the terror radius as a whole, I've got to preface this. Do not be scared of the terror radius. Unless you're in a direct line of sight of the killer and they're running straight for you, like a Nemesis player with Lethal Pursuer, you have nothing to worry about. Just keep working on those gens and/or keep hiding because, you know, baby Survivor. If you find yourself in chase with a killer, your best bet is to attempt to delay the inevitable, which is going down and getting hooked. How does one delay the inevitable? You start to learn how to loop. Looping is a rather simple concept in theory, but difficult in execution. The act of looping a killer can involve things such as vaulting, pallet stunning, and mind games. When you are in chase with a killer, and you are looping the killer, you should always remember the rule of 3. On most loops, the maximum number of times you can go around without dropping a pallet or taking a hit is 3 times. This may vary with each killer you're playing against, and what level of bloodlust the killer is at. You reach a loop with a pallet. You loop it 3 times, and you either drop the pallet or take a hit and leave the loop. If you got guts, you can always attempt to pallet stun a killer. It's risky, but it can be for the benefit. If you are at a loop and the pallet has already been dropped, however, you can attempt to mind game the killer. Mind games usually involve faking vaults, or just running into the pallet in an attempt to get the killer to swing, without the intention of vaulting. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It really depends on who you're playing against. Knowing when to leave said loop is also important. Normally, when you take a hit or the killer kicks the pallet, you want to move to the next loop as soon as possible. So you don't want to stay at one loop for too long, because you will go down eventually by doing that. So take what you can get and play for distance if needed. There are a bunch of loops you can use. T&L loops, truck loops, shack, but for that's when you've got some progress in the game, you've got some gens done, and you are deep within the mid-game of the match. Remember, trial and error is a big part of learning how to play Survivor efficiently, so don't worry if you get your ass kicked. Just don't be entitled about it. But how does one alleviate the pressure of looping in this game? You use perks. Like many things, perks are used in conjunction with certain playstyles. You've got objective-focused builds, stealth-focused builds, support builds, looping builds, troll builds, but we don't want to get into those. Perks in general do a bunch of extra stuff such as increased generator repair speed, healing speed, aura reading. You name it, you can probably do it. Editing Azura here. Elaborating on the examples of perks. So a good example for a generator build would be Stakeout, Hyperfocus, Deja Vu, and Prove Thyself. Now, Stakeout and Hyperfocus work in conjunction with one another because Stakeout turns good skill checks into great skill checks, and Hyperfocus allows for great skill checks to give extra progress on great skill checks, but it also gives you a token, maxing out at 6 tokens. It will make it so skill checks appear more often. So a good example would be getting your Stakeout stacks, going to a generator that's highlighted with Deja Vu, and getting that gen completed really quickly. For healing builds, a good example would be Will Make It, Autodidact, Botany Knowledge, and Empathic Connection. Now, honestly, you could run Autodidact by itself with Empathic Connection, and you'd have a fairly decent healing build as it is. But what you'd want to do is you'd want to go and heal as many people as much as possible, because when you get your Didact at 4 to 5 stacks, that's when its value really shines through, because it counters stuff such as Sloppy Butcher. The basis of a looping build, I know I said that Lithe, Adrenaline, Windows, and what else? Quick and Quiet is a good build, but a good example of this would also be stuff like Troubleshooter, Eyes of Belmont, Dead Hard, and I think so stuff such as that will make for good looping builds, and troll builds I'm already going over as we speak. All right, editing Azura out. Perks such as Boil Over and Flip Flop, especially paired with Irie, is designed to piss people off. Seriously though, people that complain about getting slugged when you bring shit like that need to be checked. I would know, I've done it myself. I wouldn't complain about getting slugged. If you do have the money and some time to kill, Kate and Feng both have perks that are genuinely considered beginner friendly. Kate having Windows of Opportunity, while Feng has both Lithe and Alert. Those 3 perks paired with Meg's Adrenaline, and you have the basic fundamentals of a looping build. Hello everyone, it's Editing Azura here. Just need to add this in post script writing. One of the big things about these characters that I listed off is that their perks are known as teachables. You can't have the perks on every character right off the bat. You need to prestige your survivors first to unlock the perk for universal use on other characters. For my recommendation, I would advise prestiging a character at least once so you can unlock their teachables for other characters. There's a lot of information to go over in terms of Dead by Daylight, and in some cases, knowing certain niche things will come with time and experience as you play the game. If you want to know some characters that are high priority unlock for their perks, you can always look at Otstava's website for more information, as Ots does so much for the Dead by Daylight community as a whole. The other side of the Survivor game plan is generators. Dead by Daylight, for all intents and purposes, is a pretty basic game. You run around for 20 minutes, hold a button down on some generators, do some skill checks, and if you do them enough, you can open the exit gate and escape. And if not, well, you die. Duh. There are 7 generators on the map at any given point. 5 of them need to be repaired to power the exit gates, and then the exit gates need to be opened to escape the trial. One thing you should always keep in mind is which generator you've repaired and where the other generators are in the area. If you aren't careful, you'll end up in a situation known as a 3-gen, allowing the killer to gain immense amount of pressure and game control for free. Breaking a 3-gen can be a really difficult time depending on what killer you're playing against, so stay vigilant. Perks such as Deja Vu can give you information on 3-gens, but once again, that's a perk related thing, and you'll just need to play the game and gain some experience to figure that out. Hello everyone, Editing Azura again. Going to elaborate on breaking a 3-gen in general. Now, multiple survivors can work on a generator as long as there is a space for a survivor to work on the generator. A pretty well-known strategy for breaking 3-gens is having 2 survivors work on one generator, another survivor work on a generator off somewhere else, and someone try and lead the killer away. But this won't work all the time, so your best bet is just to try and get a decent generator split when you're working on completing your objectives as a survivor. Now, Deja Vu is an extremely good perk for this because it will show you where the 3 closest generators actually are. It helps knowing where the generators are because not only does it give you that information, it also gives you a repair speed bonus on top of it. So I thought I'd elaborate a little bit because listening back to this made me realize that, my God, I could do so much better at teaching people this stuff. Now, hopefully, I've given you a little bit of help on how the basics of survival works and how to play the game in a semi-manageable manner. I know I haven't gone over everything, but that can be saved for a later video. Anyway, useful links will be in the description. Like and subscribe if you really want to. Discord server and such, but also don't forget to stay hydrated, stretch your legs, and take a breather. I'm going back to gaming and vibing. I'll be seeing everyone around in the next video, whatever it will be. Hello everyone, Editing Azura here again. Just wanted to include a couple of things at the end here. So if you're wondering why the content on the YouTube has slowed down, it's because I've been streaming over at twitch.tv/hitmeazura a bunch. But I've also been sort of going through a bit of an idea drought. Do expect stuff such as more highlights and funny moments because it's getting really difficult to think of things that are helpful to talk about. So just for future reference, expect me to do some more dumb shit down the line. Anyway, I just wanted to add on to this. Thank you all for watching. I will be going back to doing what I was doing, and I'll see everyone around. Later.